Mr. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Absolute pleasure.
Why do you think AI regulation matters for the public right now?
Look, fundamentally, it's a really important conversation to have, AI, and I don't think enough people on the grassroots level are having it, so I commend you for bringing this topic up because it's extremely important. Why does it matter? I think it matters for two things broadly. One is the profound impact this technology is going to have, not on just a narrow group of people, it's going to affect virtually everybody, like great revolutions in the past, industrial revolutions, technological revolutions have done in the past. And the second thing is, and I suppose is more pertinent, is the expediency, the pace, the speed with which this technology is advancing. So let me give you an example. And I think I'm quoting somebody else on this, is that if we look at historical technological revolutions, okay, so for example, electricity, and let's look at how long it took for 100 million users for these technology. So when electricity was invented, it took 100 years for 100 million users to use electricity. Okay. Telephone took 50 years before 100 million users got to use it. I think the PC took 15 years. Internet took 7.5 years. ChatGPT to reach 100 million users, 2 months.
Wow.
Okay. So when this technology with such wide-ranging implications at such speed is not evolution. This is almost revolution, and it could be, really, if we're not careful, lead to some form of dystopia.
When the first industrial revolution happened, we all know, like history, Luddites, huge unrest. Do you think something like that is possible with AI, with all the effects on jobs?
That is the bleakest scenario, right? Mm-hmm. The bleakest scenario is this: we lose millions of jobs. We'll lose billions in tax revenue, and we have rage against the machine, so to speak, a peak anti-technology movement. All of those three things come together, then any society is going to be in trouble. I don't foresee that. If we're careful, we won't get to that, but that is the worst case scenario.
Is Britain prepared for this big change in our economy, essentially?
The truth answer is not yet. We're getting there. Hopefully, the government is putting a plan in place, is talking about it. But what we are is, you see, the truth of the matter is, you can have a select committee meeting and discuss this. This technology would have moved on and changed by the time these select committee meetings are finished. So what we need is a dedicated department with external individuals embedded into the system, brain power, and lots of money. Because the problem is this: if we look at where do we fit in as a country in the AI chain. So if you're Taiwan, you've got semiconductors. Okay, semiconductors are vital for this technology. Therefore, international bodies will be interested in you because you play a supply chain. If you are a company, Anthropic, Google, Meta, all of those guys, right? None of them are based in the UK. Mm-hmm. Right? These are multi-billion pound industries. Where is our role? We must become indispensable in this chain, whether it's brain power or something that we invent. That means that we cannot go this alone. I'm not talking about British sovereignty, that we must own up AI sovereignty and be on our own, but working in collaboration. But we must be a vital role, a vital clog in the whole movement.
Where does AI regulation look right now? For the common person, it's hard to say where the UK is when it comes to being prepared for AI. So could you shed some light on what it's looking like so far?
It's the Wild West. It's the wild, wild West. It's like the internet and social media. We were always playing catch up, and we are playing catch up once again. And there's two things, right? There's AI security and AI safety. Mm-hmm. Okay, so security is the one that catches the imagination. It's cyber attacks, deep fakes, it's all the hacking, etc., etc. And that's a security of a nation. But safety is as equally important, because safety protects the individual. So if you've got children or even adults who are going to be targeted by algorithms that are already embedded into a system, who's protecting them? I was recently with a group of parents, slightly on a side here, who were petitioning the Prime Minister against social media companies because they had all lost a child to suicide. And they were convinced that the suicide was driven by social media platforms. Yet the social media platforms would not hand over their own children's data to the parents to see what they were looking at. And because we are now facing these huge corporates who seem to be dictating to us rather than us controlling them, and that is the issue. We must find regulation, we must find the right balance, and we must be part of that story.
And you know, just slightly just connecting to that, is it an issue that the AI software we use is not even British AI software, it's foreign software?
Absolutely, it's foreign software. Where is our technology? We have the brain power. You know, there's an often norm of any technology to be fear-mongered, scary. Oh my God, what's going to happen? But going back to my first answer, about how long it took. But let's look at it. Let's flip it. In the 17th century, if somebody said you'll be an electrician, they wouldn't to know what that meant because there was no such thing, right? But electricity invented it, and jobs were created. If Henry Ford, the inventor of the motor car, would have said, how do I improve transportation? People would have said, add an extra horse, maybe lightweight wood or aluminium, whatever material for the carriage. Nobody had the notion of a motor car, hence all the jobs that came from the motor car industry. AI will create jobs, without a doubt, because we can't imagine them now. So AI will still be creating something. But the issue is, what we need to do is ensure we're ahead of that curve. And we're, in this country, preparing our future generation to be part of that journey. Because a study done by City Hall found that if AI was to come in, there's a potential that 1/5 of the London workforce, 1 million people, would lose their jobs. And I think you can translate that to cities like mine, Leicester, Leicester South, and the whole of city. And who will lose their job? Already, I think the FT did a study and found that the wealthy and the more educated are 60% more likely to use AI than those that are on the lower socioeconomic ladder, and women. So when this revolution comes, we've already got disparity in this country. There's already inequality. AI has the potential to make that disparity even bigger. So the rich will get richer, whereas those on the lower end and the middle end job will all of a sudden lose their job, and that could be catastrophic.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it links in to what I wanted to ask next, which is a place like Leicester, an entrepreneurial city, lots of sole traders, small businesses, lots of young people kind of starting up. How could AI, or what could we do, or what does the future look like for us, as opposed to big businesses who can invest, millions in AI technology?
Yeah, it goes back to my notion of safety, right? And not burying our head in the sand and embracing this technology. We must now, as a city like Leicester, with its diversity, so we've seen that AI can be unfair to people on the lower socioeconomic ladder, to females, to black people, to disabled people. Now, in Leicester, we have a very multicultural, multifaceted society. Therefore, it could have, if not invested now, for our young people to be ready to adopt and adapt this technology. Like the rest of the country, it could be extremely catastrophic is the word I'm going to use. But if we start investing in our cities, getting our young people and our businesses used to and part of the AI train, we could be pioneers, we could be leaders in this. Because as you say, I was on one of my Evington Road the other day, and somebody who started their business started life in a very negative position. In fact, wouldn't mind me even saying, was in jail, and now running successful businesses. Right? So we've got an entrepreneurial spirit there. It needs to be harnessed, and AI is something that all our young people should be a lesson at school from now.
And if I put that into a sentence for policymakers, what do policymakers need to do to make that happen?
Integrate it into our education system from now.
Thank you. On a positive note, you worked in optometry. What benefits do you see AI being part of our economy, in our healthcare? What could a positive future look like there?
Yeah, look, as an optometrist and any healthcare professional, think one of a dream come true would be I touch a button and my patient's data goes straight to the GP, to the pharmacist, to an ophthalmologist in my profession, and everybody knows that this condition has been suspected, this condition has been diagnosed, this is the treatment. If we look at the Darzi report, all practitioners want data sharing. If you look at something called the Sudler report, it said that I think majority of patients want data sharing. That is not the issue. We definitely want it. What we must make sure is that we can trust the institutions that we are handing our data to. Look, these sort of programs have failed in the past. GP data, there was care.data, cost billions of pounds. Never used, and didn't use because not always because the technology was rubbish. It didn't work because people didn't trust it, right? And we are now on the verge of handing over our data to an American company called Palantir, right, whose CEO has very unusual views, not unusual, but especially unusual views for giving somebody a £330 million contract when they say that NHS makes people sick. Right? And we have a Stockholm syndrome with the NHS. You know, although it's bad for us, we love it. And you know who has openly declared that, you know, our job is not to just frighten people, but to kill them? Who has been responsible for their technology for a genocide in Gaza? Okay, so we must be very careful. We must share data. It's advancement. We can't deny it, but we must give it to the right company.
And that's why I'm confused, because I'm sure the UK has a potential to have our own Palantir, our own system. So why is it that the government decided to outsource it to America?
Because we have to be, and I'm not part of the government, but it's been decades of lack of investment. Where you know you're in London today. We're very close to the the square mile, which transfers billions and billions. But are they producing anything? Are they inventing anything? Are they benefiting greater society? Because we haven't invested in this, we are reaping the lack of rewards, I should say, now. And that is where the shortcoming is. We're playing catch up, and we haven't got time, and we must get going, and we must invest it. There's no point in having all these programs if you don't have bite and teeth. Money is where it changes, and that's what we need to do.
And for the final question, a bit different. What's been your experience in Parliament so far? What surprised you?
Look, for somebody who has never had any ambitions to be a parliamentarian, I was a reluctant sort of candidate, and you know, with the record sort of historical victory, everything has been surprising, you see, because I didn't come in with any notion or any ideas. But it's been an incredible journey, and every day in East Westminster is a day that I cherish, because it's an honour to represent the people of Leicester. And I know that when they voted for me, it wasn't a blind vote. It wasn't, we always vote for this. This was a conscientious decision made to vote for me. And that responsibility weighs on me every single day. So I take that with me, with all the work that I do, that the good people of Leicester South put their trust in me. When somebody puts their trust, what we say in my language, amana, that is, you know, you can't take that lightly. And, you know, sometimes, like we were talking about AI, it's how slow things move here, something so obvious. Let's get this done. It takes ages. Something that should take a long time and should be debated and should be considered goes straight away, without meaning to sound too controversial, but, you know, the proscribing of Palestine action. Within one debate, within 1 hour, one vote, done. So when it wants to be done, it can be done. When it can't be done. But meeting people that you watch on television, admired for years, now sitting down next to you and asking you for your opinion, having dinner with them is always walking past colleagues. It's something that I don't think I'll ever get used to, hopefully.
Amazing. Shockat Adam, thank you so much for your time.
No,
It's been a pleasure asking you questions.
Absolute pleasure to answer them for them.